They were once everywhere, on our screens, in our playlists, and splashed across every tabloid and talk show. These weren't just celebrities, they were icons. And then they vanished. This is Dark Celebrity Truths, and today we're diving deep into 5 once household names whose lives took dramatic turns when the cameras stopped rolling. These stars didn't just disappear, they were overwhelmed, broken down, or quietly walked away from an industry that chewed them up. Some made quiet returns, others never came back. All of them left behind a legacy far more complex than the headlines ever told. Let's begin with someone whose fall from grace has become a cautionary tale of fame, mental health, and public perception. Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes was more than a child star. She was a powerhouse, a scene stealer on Nickelodeon's All That, and later the face of The Amanda Show. She had comedic timing that rivaled the greats. She wasn't just talented, she was a generational favorite. Critics praised her range, her charm, her ability to hold her own in both sketch comedy and teen rom-coms. She was supposed to be the next big thing. By 2010, Amanda had announced her retirement from acting via a now infamous tweet. "I don't love acting anymore, so I've stopped doing it." The world was confused. She was just 24. What followed was a series of deeply troubling events: arrests for DUI, public meltdowns, a bizarre incident where she allegedly set fire to a stranger's driveway. She tweeted strange, often disturbing messages. She shaved her head. At one point, she tweeted President Obama asking him to fire a police officer who had arrested her. People laughed. But what the public didn't know then was that Amanda was battling serious mental health issues, later diagnosed as bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. In 2013, her parents obtained a conservatorship, a legal arrangement in which they gained control over her finances and health decisions. Amanda entered treatment. She faded from the spotlight. Years later, she emerged on Instagram, looking healthier and expressing a desire to launch a fashion line. She attended the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising and even got engaged. But her struggles weren't over. In 2023, Amanda was again placed under a psychiatric hold after being found wandering the streets of Los Angeles without clothes. She called 911 on herself. In her words, "I just lost control. I felt like I was outside my own body. I needed help, and I'm glad I asked for it." Amanda's story isn't over. She has spoken openly about how therapy saved her life. In one candid moment, she tweeted, "If you're afraid to ask for help, don't be. You don't have to be in constant pain." These aren't the words of a punchline. They're the words of someone surviving. Amanda Bynes is still here, still fighting. And while Hollywood may have turned its back on her, fans still remember the girl who made us laugh and hope she finds peace. Her story is especially tragic because she was never given the support that young stars today have. In an age before conversations about mental health were normalized, Amanda's breakdowns were treated as entertainment. She wasn't protected, she was paraded. It's a dark reminder of how quickly Hollywood can turn on its own and how little the system does to protect its youngest talents. Brendan Fraser. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Brendan Fraser was everywhere. The Mummy franchise, George of the Jungle, Bedazzled. He had leading man good looks and boy next door humility. But one day, he vanished from Hollywood, and few people knew why. In a 2018 GQ interview, Fraser opened up about the real reason behind his disappearance. He revealed he had been sexually assaulted in 2003 by Philip Burke, then president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. He said the trauma sent him into a deep depression. "I felt like something had been taken from me, my sense of agency, my ability to say no, and worse, it felt like nobody cared." The assault wasn't the only factor. Brendan also endured a series of surgeries on his back, knees, and vocal cords from years of doing his own stunts. He was in physical and emotional pain, going through a divorce and grieving the loss of his mother. Hollywood didn't come to his rescue. In fact, the roles stopped coming. Brendan was quietly blacklisted. But in 2022, after years out of the spotlight, Fraser returned with The Whale. His performance was heartbreaking, raw, and deeply human. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor, bringing him to tears on stage. "I was in the wilderness. I probably should have left a trail of breadcrumbs, but you found me, and I'm grateful." His story is not just a comeback. It's a triumph of truth over silence. The emotional response to Fraser's return wasn't just about nostalgia, it was about justice. For every person who has suffered in silence, for every actor who's been discarded, Brendan Fraser's win was a symbol of hope. He reminded us that decency and vulnerability still matter, that resilience counts, and that no one should be defined by their darkest chapter. Even now, Fraser is cautious with fame. He chooses projects carefully. He speaks openly about the trauma he endured. He cries easily in interviews, and fans cry with him. It's as if the world is collectively apologizing for letting him disappear in the first place. Lindsay Lohan, she was the ultimate teen icon. The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, Mean Girls. Lindsay Lohan was Hollywood gold, but the pressure of being the industry's go-to child star caught up with her fast. From 2007 onward, Lindsay was in and out of rehab, jail, and courtrooms. She became a tabloid obsession. Every move, every party, every misstep was captured by a camera. At one point she said, "I didn't have a childhood. My life was just movie sets and paparazzi. And when I tried to act like a normal 20-year-old, I got crucified for it." Lindsay was arrested multiple times for DUIs. She missed filming commitments. She lost movie roles. Hollywood declared her uninsurable. So she disappeared, but not into oblivion, into recovery. Lindsay relocated to Dubai, a place with no paparazzi culture. She got sober, she got married, and in 2023, she gave birth to her first child. In a surprising twist, she returned to acting in 2022 with the Netflix holiday film Falling for Christmas, which became a streaming hit. Lindsay Lohan is no longer trying to be the Lindsay the media built. She's focused on motherhood, peace, and choosing projects on her own terms. Her fall wasn't a failure, it was escape. And let's not forget, Lindsay was never truly out of the spotlight. Even in exile, she had a grip on culture. Her quotes became memes. Her fashion choices, even at rock bottom, inspired trends. There's something almost mythical about her legacy. A cautionary tale, yes, but also a story of rebirth. Today, she's rewriting the ending on her own terms. When Lindsay reflects now, there's a calmness in her voice that wasn't there before. She has said, "My past made me who I am, but it doesn't define me anymore." For fans who watched her destruction play out in real time, her survival feels like victory enough. Mischa Barton. For a brief moment in the early 2000s, Misha Barton was everywhere. As Marissa Cooper on The OC, she was the face of teen drama. The show wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon. Mischa's face was plastered across every magazine, and she was hailed as the next Hollywood it girl. But fame hit fast and hard. By 2006, rumors of partying and erratic behavior began to overshadow her career. She left The OC at its peak, a move that shocked fans and critics alike. Mischa later admitted she felt pressured into leaving, claiming she was burned out and manipulated by people around her. After leaving the show, things spiraled. She was arrested for DUI, hospitalized for psychiatric issues, and sued over unpaid rent. Tabloids painted her as unstable, and the work offers dried up. In a 2017 interview, she said, "I was too young to handle the pressure. Everyone wanted a piece of me, and I didn't know how to say no. Walking away saved me, even though it didn't feel like it at the time." Mischa did eventually return to acting, but never recaptured the same level of fame. She also joined The Hill's New Beginnings in 2019, a reality TV revival, but left after one season, saying she didn't fit into the scripted drama. Her story is a sobering reminder of how quickly Hollywood can discard its chosen stars. One day you're the face of an era, the next you're forgotten. But Mischa's honesty about her struggles has helped reframe her narrative. She isn't just the girl who fell, she's the woman who survived. Today she lives quietly, working on independent projects and focusing on her well-being. Fame was fleeting, but survival was lasting. Macaulay Culkin. If you grew up in the 90s, Macaulay Culkin wasn't just a celebrity. He was a phenomenon. The child star of Home Alone 2, My Girl, and Richie Rich didn't just dominate box offices. He became a generational icon. By the age of 12, Culkin was one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood. But what happens when the biggest child star in the world decides he doesn't want to be famous anymore? Macaulay Culkin's rise was rapid and staggering. Home Alone made over $470 million worldwide and turned him into a household name overnight. But behind the scenes, Culkin was living anything but a normal childhood. His father, Kit Culkin, served as his manager and reportedly pushed him relentlessly while controlling every aspect of his son's career and finances. He was a bad man, Culkin later said in a 2018 interview. He was abusive. Everything he tried to do in life, I excelled at before I was 10. The pressure and control became too much. At 14, Macaulay walked away from Hollywood. He stopped acting. He sued his parents to gain control of his own money, around $17 million, and distanced himself from the industry entirely. In the years that followed, his reclusive lifestyle only added to the mystery. Tabloids speculated about drug use, health issues, and mental breakdowns. Photos of him looking gaunt and disheveled circulated widely. Some claimed he was near death, but Culkin would later clarify he was just tired of fame. I've had people assume I was strung out because I was thin and pale, he told The Guardian, but I was just living my life. The press made up this story because it fit the narrative they wanted. What's often forgotten is that Culkin never truly spiraled. He didn't have multiple arrests. He wasn't caught in scandals. Instead, he faded away, by choice. He joined a comedy band, the Pizza Underground, dabbled in art, lived quietly in Paris for a while. He even launched a website, Bunny Ears, that parodied lifestyle brands like Goop. Still, rumors clung to him like shadows. Part of that is due to his deeply controversial friendship with Michael Jackson. Culkin was one of several children who spent time at Neverland Ranch and testified during Jackson's 2005 trial, denying any abuse. The media frenzy surrounding that trial, and Culkin's continued insistence that he was never harmed, only deepened public curiosity and skepticism. He never did anything to me, Culkin told Esquire in 2020. I never saw him do anything, and especially at this flashpoint in time, I'd have no reason to hold anything back. The guy has passed on. If anything, I'm not going to say it would be stylish or anything like that, but right now is a good time to speak up. And if I had something to speak up about, I would totally do it. In recent years, something unexpected happened. Macaulay Culkin came back, but not in the way the public might have expected. He returned on his own terms. In 2021, Culkin made headlines again, not for a relapse, arrest, or scandal, but for walking the Gucci runway in Hollywood. A confident, eccentric reminder that he was still here and still weird in the best possible way. That same year, he became a father with partner Brenda Song, best known from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. The birth of their son, Dakota, named after Culkin's late sister, was a quiet, tender moment. Not a PR move, not a spectacle, but a sign of a man who had survived the madness and chosen peace. He also starred in American Horror Story, Double Feature, delivering a performance that reminded fans just how much talent had been hiding behind that famous face all along. I had to take control of my own story, he said in an interview with Esquire. It's not a comeback, because I never really went away. I just changed the channel. Macaulay Culkin was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2023, introduced by Catherine O'Hara, his Home Alone mother, both on screen and off. It was an emotional, full-circle moment. The once-lost boy had made it home. I'm a family man now, Culkin said on stage. To my son, I look forward to watching you grow. And to Brenda, you're everything. No meltdown, no big drama. Just a kid who said enough to fame and eventually figured out how to be happy without it. Final thoughts. 5 lives, 5 wildly different stories. Amanda Bynes, a brilliant comedian consumed by mental illness and media cruelty. Brendan Fraser, a blockbuster hero crushed by trauma and pain, only to rise again as Hollywood's most beloved comeback. Lindsay Lohan, a teen queen whose every mistake was weaponized, still fighting to rewrite her story. Mischa Barton, a cautionary tale of exploitation in the teen fame machine, reclaiming her voice after years of silence. Macaulay Culkin, a child star who escaped the system by simply walking away. These aren't cautionary tales to gawk at. They're reminders that fame is not a cure for trauma, that the spotlight can burn as much as it illuminates, that the people behind the personas are, first and foremost, human. And that disappearance doesn't always mean downfall. Sometimes it's survival. Thanks for watching Dark Celebrity Truths. If this episode moved you, like the video, leave a comment and subscribe for more cinematic deep dives into the untold stories of fame. Until next time, remember, Fame hides everything until it doesn't.